Hey, what is up, everybody, and welcome to our Mystic Road Trip. This is Monday's edition, which means it is all about magical kind of things. I am your host, Kim, and I am a tarot reader, a meditation guide, a life coach, a holistic dietitian, an astrologer. I love anything spiritual, mystical, magical, and sometimes I guess a little odd. I don't know. We haven't gotten into any of that yet. I mean, I guess maybe. Some people might think Ouija boards are odd. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. It's what I'm into. This podcast is basically me going on my mystic road trip, trying to learn things that trying to build my knowledge base. And I want to share it with you guys in hopes that maybe me building my knowledge base can help you build your knowledge base and help your practice and everything become more of what you are wanting it to be. That's really what it is, right? Everybody's path is a little different, but knowledge is knowledge, and so that's kind of what I do. I cover everything from tarot to crystals to ley lines. Today we're covering dream interpretation, which is kind of interesting. On Mondays we do these kind of things. Thursdays we solely focus on tarot, and basically I take one tarot card a week and I dive deep into it, talk about associations like crystals, colors, elements, all that kind of stuff, as well as the meaning of the card, how you can use it in your daily life, and all that kind of stuff. So if it's something you're interested in, this is a perfect podcast for you. And like I said, today is Monday, so that means we talk about the magical, mystical kind of things. And today I did want to talk about dream interpretation. As always, if you want to get a hold of me, there's ways to do that in the description box. There's also ways to support the podcast. At the very least, if you would like, review, comment, share, do all that kind of good stuff. Whether you're on Spotify or you're watching my mug on YouTube, all of those options are fantastic to get the algorithm to pick me up and push me out, and maybe we can build a bigger community where we can all be in this mystic road trip together. And maybe I won't have to be the only one driving the bus on this road trip. I would love to have some guests on and have some interesting conversation with people. So on Mondays, I do start off with something called Our Week in the Stars, and this is basically where, oh, by the way, you can also check out the Medium publication link, and there is a link to my other podcast called Where All the Ladies At. It is basically a history podcast where I dive deep into history and try to figure out where the fuck the women went. And this month we are celebrating Black History Month. You heard me right. We are celebrating Black History Month, and so I'm covering amazing African goddesses, and for the Monday edition, which is about myth, and then badass ladies, Black ladies from history on Thursdays, which is where I talk about the history. This week we are talking about Madam C.J. Walker, and last week we talked about Sister Rosetta Tharpe. So if you're into history and you're into the ladies and you want to support their stories being told a little bit more than they are, then check that out too. All right, so that's my little shameless plug. That's my housekeeping. Let's get started with Our Week in the Stars. Our Week in the Stars is basically where I take a few astrological planetary movements and discuss the energies and hopefully give you some advice on how to navigate them. We're going to start with today, February 10th. Mercury in Aquarius is going to square Uranus in Taurus. And the moon enters Leo. So what the fuck does that mean? Okay, let's talk about it. So Mercury in Aquarius. So this transit kind of brings a clash between your mind, the Mercury, right? And the need for stability, Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign, and all earth signs like to be stable. Some more than others. And it is in Aquarius. Mercury is in Aquarius. Aquarius is innovative. They're right, but Uranus is all about shaking things up, which the two of those together doesn't shock me. Like, that's a nice combination. With this energy, I would say expect the unexpected, or maybe sudden ideas that challenge your traditional thinking, but they might be hard to bring into reality due to Taurus's focus on the practical. So what I would say is that just right, because sometimes when you're too practical, those outside the box ideas that could really work, or outside the way of thinking that could really work, become very challenging for you to grab a hold of. I'm a Capricorn sun, and so sometimes those ideas are kind of hard for me to grab onto occasionally. I would say maybe staying open to new ideas and approaches. Take time to consider how they fit into your long-term goals, because here's the thing with earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, they are very goal driven. So when these type of energy happens in those signs, I would always say just it's easier for those signs to hold on to the idea if it benefits their long-term goal. So when these new ideas and approaches come up, look at it through the lens of your long-term goal. And I think that might help you out. You might, because of the Aquarius and the Uranus, feel like you want to act a little impulsively. But I think just taking a breath and grounding your plans, that's going to help you utilize that Taurus focus a little bit better, and it's going to help you find a better balance. Now the moon is also entering Leo, and Leo is warm, it's creativity, it's self-expression. Leo's energy is about shining and being recognized. They like to be in the spotlight, Leos. So I think with that energy mixed in with another aspect might be, and this might be hard for the Taurus energy and it might be a little conflicting, is to really let your heart lead. Try to embrace creativity and personal expression. It's a great time to really connect with your passions and really take pride in your achievement. So I think that with all these energies together, I think if you can make sure that whatever new idea or impulse that you're having is good for your long-term goal, that'll satisfy that Taurus energy. And then the rest of it, just make sure you're going towards your passion, and that'll definitely satisfy that Aquarius and that Leo energy. It sounds like it could be a confusing time, but I think if you think about it like that, I think the energy is going to be very good for you to push forward into things like, starting your own business, or maybe trying to get a promotion or things like that. Because anything where you're going to get like recognition for your achievements is going to be like really great for that Leo moon energy. So just think about it like that. All right, guys. So now we're going to move to the day. The holiday. February 14th. It's a Friday. Mercury is going to enter Pisces. So, Mercury is about communication, and it's going into Pisces, Pisces are very intuitive. They're very emotional when they're thinking. Logic is going to potentially take a back seat to your imagination and your intuition during this, right? It's a great time to reflect on feelings more than facts, right? So let your creative side kind of feel a little bit stronger this day. I think the biggest thing I would say is trust your intuition this day. It's a great time for creative work and meditation and any activity that really connects you to your inner world. Just be mindful not to get too lost in daydreams. Pisces do have a tendency of doing that. Make sure you kind of try to keep your thoughts grounded a little bit, especially if you're trying to make an important decision. If it's little things, just let it go. But if it's something super important, don't let the daydream aspect kind of take over. It can. Pisces that's very much what it's about. And so I think, especially because Mercury is about communication, I think if there's any conversations to be had, if it's a big life decision, maybe postpone it a little bit. If it's not, and it's just something like, hey, what are we going to do today? It's Valentine's Day. Let your imagination run. That's what I say. Why not? And the last day we're going to talk about is going to be Saturday, February 15th. So this is a pretty profound day. So Moon in Virgo is going to be opposite Neptune in Pisces, and the Moon's going to enter Libra. Now, the Moon in Virgo, so here's the thing. It's going to start in Virgo, and then it's going to enter Libra, okay? I don't have the exact times, but the Moon in Virgo it's an earth sign, right? So it's going to be practical, and Neptune in Pisces is about mystery and illusion. So this opposition, and they are opposite each other, can kind of create some tension between in your own life about what's real and what's imagined, and it could make it very hard to tell a truth from fantasy. So I think what I would say is try to find the balance between your need for order and the dreamy energy around you. Try not to make decisions based on unclear or idolized perceptions. So, in other words, don't take the time to make sure that the decisions you're making are being made off of fact and not off of feeling, which is typically not what I would say. But I think in this situation, you need to make sure that it's true and not fantasy, right? So analyze situations carefully and don't let yourself get too caught up in overthinking, though, because that could be the downside of this. Now later, the moon is going to enter Libra, and this is going to bring more harmony and balance and more of a focus on relationships. In this situation, once the moon moves into Libra, it is about like seeking peace and cooperation with others, especially with groups and partnerships. So what I would say with this is, as the move goes into that, focus on creating more balance in your relationships. Compromise is not a bad word. Diplomacy is not a bad word. All of these things will be vital. It's a great time to really have some conflict resolution and try to find some common ground. But avoid being concerned with pleasing everyone. So don't break down your boundaries or push anything back because you want to make a peaceful situation, right? Make sure you keep those boundaries, you stand your ground, but also know that it's okay to give and take, right? But don't completely back down. I think if that makes sense. It's a good feeling. So, and that is our week in the stars. Those are just a couple of things. Bear in mind, guys, there are other astrological events happening. These are just the 3 that I thought could use a little guidance in how to manage and maneuver the energies. So, let's talk. This is something I've always been interested in, and I haven't really studied too much about it, and I'm going to study more. This is just a real loose... Sorry, guys, I'm still like sick, and so my nose is a little runny. I need to go get some tissue here in a second. It's a topic I'm really interested in, and that is dream interpretation, right? We all have dreams. Sometimes they're strange, sometimes they're super vivid, and sometimes when we wake up, if you remember your dreams, I remember 98% of my dreams. I always have, for some reason, and some people think that's weird, but it's just how I am. Sometimes when you wake up and you can remember them, you're like, what the fuck was that, right? Like, you're like, what? Did I eat something bad before dinner, before I went to bed? It just turns out, dreams, here's the thing, are not that. They reveal a lot about our mental state. It's our emotional health. And it can also even be messages from the universe and from spirit and all that kind of stuff. There's different takes on it, right? So we're going to take a look at a couple things. We're going to look at the psychological. We're going to look at the mystical. We're going to look at the spiritual. Because I think they all are accurate. They all play a part. I think dreams are very much your mind trying to process things. I do think sometimes it is messages and things tapping in from others. Sometimes it is the energies. There are a lot of different aspects, and there's so much stuff we don't know about the brain and the mind and all this, that it's just such a fascinating and ever-growing field. So I thought we'd start with the most practical, and that is the psychological perspective. And so we'll dive into that. Now, there's different theories and there's different ideas of what it is, but from a psychological standpoint, basically, dreams are the way your brain sorts through the mess of your day, right? It's basically like a mental cleanup. Your conscious mind might have been too busy with work and family and all the commitments that we have to address some scattered thoughts and emotions that are kind of left unresolved. So while you're sleeping, your subconscious takes the time and says, okay, this goes in this, this goes in this, this goes in this. It organizes it, allows you to process it a little bit better, and then kind of deal with that mental clutter that you kind of ignored through the day. Sometimes it's a gentle process. It's a simple process. Sometimes it's not. If you've had some pretty intense day or you've had some pretty intense life or unresolved feelings, by the end of your day, your subconscious is just trying to get your brain back in order so that it can start the next day fresh, right? Sometimes dreams act as an emotional release valve. Give you a way to vent emotions you haven't processed, right? Maybe we've all had the dream where like we had this really heated argument with someone we love, and it's because it's been building, emotional tension has been building up, right? So it's released in an exaggerated way, and sometimes in a very chaotic way at night. That kind of dream is just your subconscious saying, helping you work through those unresolved conflicts and stress. Your mind doesn't want to leave things hanging around, and so it dramatizes them in a dream to help you confront them. Now, sometimes those dreams are very fucking strange, right? And I think we'll talk a little bit about later, like repetitive dreams. I have one, and it's a fucked up dream, and I'm sure there's some sort of emotional thing, because I only have it when I've like had like really emotional days. But if I told you it, you would be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" But your subconscious doesn't always relay the dreams and the feelings in the way that you would. Sometimes it's not just you're having an argument with your person. Sometimes it's you're chasing a monster through a mall that has a library that has a pit of spikes in the center. Yeah. Sometimes that's how your brain says, this is how you're going to work your shit out. I don't know what it's trying to say. I don't know what my brain thinks I need to work out. But I don't think it needs to work that out. Right? So, hey, you could dream, it can be anything from dreaming that you're yelling at your partner to, anything. Your brain does fucked up shit while you're sleeping, but it's doing it for a reason. Another big role of dreams is to reflect stress or anxiety. So that you're chased, you're running away from something or someone, all that kind of stuff, right? From a psychological perspective, these types of dreams are the way your mind is kind of showing that you're avoiding something in your life, all that kind of thing. Another fascinating aspect of dreams, I think, is how they can offer solutions to problems you might be struggling with. I'm sure we've all had that one dream we've had, and then we woke up, we were like, that's what I need to do, right? That's because your brain has taken the time to process everything you've experienced, and even those things that you don't think are important, and then incorporated that into your dream, and this helps you, your subconscious, work out the pieces and find the solution. And that's why you wake up sometimes where you're like, that's it, right? So the phenomena of dreams offers solutions, offering solutions have been reported for the same things, right? So Albert Einstein, Paul McCartney have mentioned how dreams help them work through complex problems. And there's different theories, of course. You have Freudian, you have Jungian, you have all these things that talk about dreams and interpretations and what they all mean. And so it really just depends on how you feel. But in the end, it's really psychologically, it is your brain working through things and categorizing events and important things. And sometimes it does it in a logical way, and sometimes it does it in a way where you're walking on the ceiling, or you can jump and kind of like hover in the air for long distances. It's very strange. These are just some insights into my brain. The brain doesn't do things always in a linear, logical manner, if that makes sense. All right, so that's kind of a little about psychological. I could go into more and more and more. There's so much more to be had, but I'm not really versed in that. This is just notes that I've taken. I'm going to take a course on dream interpretation because I think it's helpful for me as a life coach, to be able to maybe have a little knowledge in that. So Here's where I have a little bit more knowledge, and that is in the spiritual perspective. If you approach dreams from a spiritual perspective, there's a lot more deeper and more profound meaning in them. It's not just random flashes of images. Dreams are sometimes can be a bridge between the physical and the spiritual worlds, right? A connection with your higher self, a connection with your spirit, a connection with the universe itself. And this is something that's happened all around the globe, right? Spiritual traditions across the globe view dreams as a way to channel guidance and comfort and insight. Rather than, so I think that's why I think learning about them is so important. Rather than just kind of brushing them off as meaningless, they can provide a glimpse into larger, more cosmic, more wise avenues, right? And they become a sacred space where the divine and the universe communicate. Common spiritual belief around dreams is the idea that they can serve as a channel to message from loved ones who've passed away, especially if you dream about those deceased relatives or friends. And it can just be them trying to get through to send you a message, you know. This sometimes some people might say that's just your brain processing memories, but many times in these dreams, at least for my dreams, these loved ones that come and visit, they do share advice, they do provide reassurance, they do offer comfort, and they do continually say, you know, we're here, we're watching you, we're guiding you, you're not alone, you know. The spirit world is actively engaging with you, and sometimes the only way that they can get through is through the dreams. And so that's where they go, right? I've had a lot of dreams where this has happened, and I will tell you, when I wake up, I feel very relieved. I feel like loved. I feel healed. Sometimes I'm very, there's a lot more clarity and focus. You know, and for those that believe in the afterlife or the continuity of the soul, these dreams are very significant. It offers that connection to something greater than the material world. Another interesting thing, and this is what I was going to say, is the concept of recurring dreams. Now, I'm gonna talk about the research that I did, but I'm also going to give you a little insight. So I have recurring dreams, and I have a couple that are pretty consistent. And those I think are more psychological, but I do have a belief that if I repeat the same dream like multiple times, that number one, there's a message clearly there, and number two, that something in that, and it may not be a literal translation, but it's telling me something's going to happen, right? It's very significant in the spiritual realm. Come back again and again. Spiritually reoccurring dreams are believed to be signals from your higher self or the universe trying to get your attention. They often carry a deeper meaning and can act as a sort of wake-up call, trying to get you to take action or address something that needs to be addressed. You'll find that sometimes these reoccurring dreams surface when there's something your soul needs to learn, to understand, and your subconscious is trying to keep it, and it'll keep bringing it up and up and up until you get it, you know. The universe is persistent, and if it want to tell you something, it's gonna keep it going till you hear it. And the interesting thing is the more you ignore it, the more frequent and intense those dreams are going to become, right? So you're the universe is saying, hey, pay attention, and sometimes we don't, and then the universe says, okay, pay attention, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, so for me personally, reoccurring dreams, not the psychological reoccurring, those I think once again are trauma and things I need to work through, but the ones where I have like something happens and I have it more than 3 times, then most of the time something is going to happen, you know. Maybe it is I'm going to wind up in this place and I'm going to meet this person, or maybe, you know, but something in the dream is going to happen, and maybe not in the way that it happens in the dream, but it's kind of giving me a hint that something's about to happen. Another thing is lucid dreaming. Now, I think lucid dreaming can fit into spiritual for sure. I think it can also fit into psychological as well. It's basically this idea that you can like tap into your subconscious mind and learn from your innermost thoughts and desires. So basically, lucid dreaming is like you're not just a you're not just a moviegoer. You're actually playing a part. You actually can direct and navigate your dream. And this allows you to have more transformative experiences where you can face some fears, maybe overcome some challenges and work through some wounds. This is why I say it can be spiritual, but it can also be psychological as well. It's basically like saying you're navigating your dreams, right? So whereas when we often dream, we don't really have control over what happens. We just are there along for the ride. When you can lucid dream, you therefore can steer. Like if you have two doors and you always go through one in the dream, if you're lucid dreaming, you can turn that around and go through the other door, right? And some spiritual practices use lucid dreaming as a way to kind of like transcend the physical world, visit other planes of existence and such. If you believe in that, the dreams can become playground for personal transformation. Basically, you're the one in charge. The dream offers endless possibilities, and it allows you to kind of work through things. For those who believe in mystical aspects of dreaming, lucid dreams kind of offer this rare and potent opportunity to connect with the divine at the deepest layer, right? Whether you view them as spiritual growth or whatever you think they are, lucid dreams can hold a very powerful place in a lot of spiritual practices. It allows you to have more access to your imagination, things of such nature. Now, from the magical perspective, and I know a lot of people say, well, isn't magical spiritual? And yes, it is, but I like to separate them because spiritual is very broad and magical is a little bit more, I guess, religious, I guess would be the term I would say. So if you like magic, you might find it fascinating as they're basically portals into the mystical realm, right? For centuries, cultures around the world have regarded dreams as gateways to otherworldly places where hidden knowledge can be found, spiritual energies, magical forces flow freely. Dreams in this context are not random flashes of imagination or reflection of your day's events. They are seen as bridges to higher dimensions, and this is where your intuition and divine wisdom can really, really manifest. In a lot of magical traditions, it's believed that dreams provide us with access to energies beyond the physical world. We can connect with the unseen, receive guidance, tap into ancient wisdoms as such. In the magical world, one of the most intriguing views on dreams is that they are a form of divination. And this is where I talk about the recurring dreams again. Your dreams might not just be your subconscious processing thoughts. It could actually offer you glimpses into the future and kind of give you truths about things you haven't had happen. If you are open to the energies, and you have been, you probably have had those dreams where like you've had the dream and then something in it happens. Some people call this deja vu, and it is kind of a form of deja vu, but it's more of a prophetic thing, right? These kinds of dreams offer you insight into personal matters and situations and things of such nature. Dreams like these can act as magical compasses. Sometimes when I've done a powerful spell or something and I've asked for guidance from the god or goddess, it comes through dreams. And if you're not paying attention or not open to them, you miss out. Oh, I gotta get my eyebrows done. Sorry guys, I got distracted. It can actually help you, point you in the right direction and everything. And the power of symbolism in dreams is huge too, especially when you're looking at them from a magical lens. Certain symbols appear in dreams are believed to carry potent energies, right? So for instance, dreaming of a snake, not a steak, I'm not a meat eater, might symbolize transformation, rebirth, or healing. If you're flying, it could signify freedom, elevated state of consciousness. Symbols, the things that happen in there are not just random, right? They carry specific energies and specific meanings, can be used as tools for personal growth and spiritual guidance, of course. You might find that a certain symbol resonates with you and offers clues to how to incorporate your energy into your waking life. So, for example, if you dream of water, right, you might connect it to emotional clarity and renewal, and then you can incorporate that into your spell work, go more towards the water element, right? It can be almost like dreams can be like a cheat sheet for you, and help you guide towards symbols and things to use that might work out. Another one, and this is something I hadn't really thought of, but it's something called dream incubation, and it is a magical technique. This is where you focus your mind on a specific question or whatever as you're trying to fall asleep, and then your dreams are meant to provide you with insight guidance about that. Dream incubation has been used for a long time, and I didn't know that was the terminology. That's more what I didn't know. I do it all the time. Like I ask for like guidance and everything before I go to bed from the god or goddess, and then I do sometimes get answers in the dreams, right? And that's because a lot of these beliefs believe that the unconscious mind is attuned to the other realm, right? It's much more open to it. So it's a good thing. The practice is just basically focusing on the question or problem you'd like to solve before you prepare to sleep, and then as you drift off into sleep, the universe, spirits, whoever you believe in, will send message, and you will start noticing patterns and recurring symbols, and that can help with the clarity. Taken together, if you look at the magical perspective on dreams, and then all the rest, dreams can be very much more than a reflection on your daily life, right? So in the end, common dreams, themes that and what they could mean. So I thought we talked a little bit about the ideas of what dreams are. I thought might be kind of cool to take a look at some common themes and kind of maybe go over what they could potentially mean for you, right? So let's think about it. So let's talk about the classic dream where you're being chased, right? It's a very common one, and of course it can be chased by different things. Sometimes it's a psycho killer, sometimes it's a car, whatever it is. It tends to be tied to your feelings of anxiety and fear or avoidance. Psychologically, this could represent something you're running away from, a stressful situation, unresolved conflict, that kind of thing. And the more you avoid it, the more intense that pursuit is going to feel, right? But spiritually and magically, that could be, you're being chased in a dream, could be a sign that you're avoiding an important life lesson, right? You need to face in order to grow, so you need to stop running. It's like you can't run from forever, right? Your soul is calling you to really confront something. Maybe there's a change in your life that you've been resisting or a truth that you've been denying. The chase isn't just about fear. It is about running away from the very thing that might be essential to your growth. In magical contests, being chased in a dream could seem that there's energy or force trying to get your attention, urging to align with a deeper purpose. But no matter how fast you run, it's always going to catch up with you, okay? So those are kind of some ideas about running. Now, let's talk about flying. Flying is a very common one as well, right? Flying, it also talks about freedom and liberation and a desire to kind of break free. Psychologically, it could be like a longing for escape of your daily routine and responsibilities. Your subconscious is basically telling you need a break, kind of thing. In a spiritual sense, though, flying can take a whole different meaning, right? Spiritually, it often talks about like reaching higher levels of consciousness or enlightenment. So if you're dreaming about flying, it's possible that you're on a journey of spiritual awakening. It might just be a reminder to trust your intuition. If you can fly in your dreams, it's granted a special power, right? All right, so let's talk about one other one. I think there's only one other. Let me look at my notes. Let's talk about one other one. We'll talk about, okay, this is one that happens a lot, and I've had it a couple of times. Teeth falling out. It's kind of jarring, for sure. Teeth are associated with self-image and confidence and communication. So if you're dreaming about losing them psychologically, it might reflect like you're afraid of aging or losing your attractiveness, or it could just be a point of lack of self-confidence or insecurity. Spiritually, it could represent losing a power or control of your life. Magically, it could symbolize shedding old ways or outdated beliefs. If you've been holding on to beliefs or habits that no longer serve you, the dreams might be your subconscious way of saying, hey, you guys, it's time to let go. You got to release and be free, kind of thing, right? So those are just kind of a couple common themes. Of course, everybody has different variations of them, you know. I think this is just a really brief thing on dream interpretation. Like I said, I am going to be taking a course on dream interpretation, and so we may revisit this topic at another time. The key to dream interpretation, I think, is really understanding the dreams aren't always crystal clear, and not every word, image, or scene is a profound message. Sometimes it's just your brain doing some fucked up shit, right? Sometimes it's just a dream. Your brain just needs to work out through the day's events, and the key to dream interpretation is really figuring out which dreams could be offering valuable insights, right? And not every dream needs to have a deep analysis. Sometimes, once again, dreams are just dreams. But I think being able to see the difference between the different types of dreams is kind of key. And that's it, guys. That's it. That's all I'm going to talk about for dream interpretation. It is an important part of magical and spiritual practices, and it is very important for psychological. But I don't think you should dwell on it. I think go with your feelings. If you have a dream and something about it is bothering you, then that's definitely a dream to kind of maybe take apart. If it's not every dream, do you have to wake up and try to analyze? Sometimes just let your dreams be dreams, okay? But once again, if you have this feeling or this like uneasy feeling, or just not even uneasy, just kind of feeling, intuition that the dream means something, then yeah, take it apart, kind of see what you got, kind of sit with it, dream journal about it. That would be a great thing to do, because then those ones that you have that feeling for, 9 times out of 10, I would bet that they do have a message or something you need to work through. And that's dream interpretation, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this week's Our Mystic Road Trip Magic. Make sure to check out Thursday's edition, where I'm covering 1 tarot card a week. And we are almost through the major arcana. Woot woot. And so yeah, check it out. And as always, guys, that's it for this week. If you want to reach out to me, there's ways to contact me via my social media, even an email, down in the description box. There's also a way to support the podcast financially through Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon. And if you can't do that, totally understand. If you just like, review, share, comment, do all that kind of good stuff, get the word out there. That would be amazing. If you want more information, make sure you check out the Medium publication that goes with this podcast. And if you are into women in history, I do suggest checking out my other podcast called Where All the Ladies At. It is basically me just trying to figure out where the fuck the women went in history. So, that being said, once again, that's it for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next week. Actually, I'll see you Thursday. What am I talking about? You better show up Thursday. I will see you then. See you next episode. How about that? That's much better. Until then, guys, stay curious and be blessed.